My name is Robert. Most of you know that, but some of you certainly don't. Quite a few of my friends have been after me for a while now to make a video like this. And I've avoided it, quite honestly, because I hate it when people see me like this. So what are you seeing? It's going to take some explanation. I have psoriatic arthritis and fibromyalgia. Been disabled with it now for about 25 years. Wasn't always as bad as it is now, but let's talk about that just a little bit. Psoriatic arthritis is a different animal than what people think of when they think of arthritis. When they think of either osteoarthritis, which is just damage to the joints, or rheumatoid arthritis, which is much more significant damage to the joints. There's a couple of ways that psoriatic arthritis differs. I'm not saying it's worse, it's just different. But with psoriatic arthritis, one thing is that you will often get psoriasis, the patches of flaky red skin all over your body. Yeah, the stuff you see them advertising about on TV. But the biggest issue is what it does internally. It not only attacks joints the way that rheumatoid arthritis and osteoarthritis can, it also attacks tendons and ligaments, causing them to become inflamed, stiff, and tighten. At the moment, that's what you're kind of seeing here with me. They've become inflamed, stiff, and tightened. And when they tighten like this, they often will turn or lock a joint in a very uncomfortable position. And while normally in my case my PA is asymmetrical, meaning that it attacks different areas of the body, not just one side normally, when this type of a flare happens, it usually attacks the left. In this case, it tightens my knee, it tightens my neck, shoulder, elbow, wrist, and my hand. Makes it just about non-functional. Now, do not post any type of medical advice as a comment for this video. Not one. I know some of you mean well, don't do it. I have been dealing with this, as I said, for 25 years. There is not a medical treatment, there is not a medication, there is not a supplement that you can name that I haven't tried under the care and supervision of my doctors. I have a GP, a rheumatologist who specializes in these types of conditions, and a cardiologist. So, thanks, but no thanks. Do not post it. I will delete it. Friends that have been on me about this because they want people to see what it's like and what I'm dealing with. So let's start at the beginning. I'm not always like this. Comes and goes. However, I am in pain 24/7, 365. There's not a single moment of my life, awake or asleep, that I'm not in pain. I do everything I can to mitigate that, follow my doctor's advice within a certain limit, and I'll explain that limit in a minute. But there's nothing that can be done. There are no cures for this condition. There are only treatments. And the treatments can't stop it, can't reverse it. All they can do is slow it down. It's a progressive, degenerative disease. And nothing that I ever did in my life in terms of physical activity, drug use, and I've never used any kind of recreational or illegal drug. The only medications I take are ones that are prescribed for me. Usually, quite often, they have to convince me really hard to try it. I do not like to take drugs of any kind, even the ones that I need to take for this condition. I've learned to do it because it's necessary, but I don't like it. So there is nothing I did that made this happen. This is a genetic disease. Didn't ask for it, don't like it. If there were an actual cure available for this, I would jump on it in a heartbeat. My doctors and I continuously monitor any type of new treatments that's being tried, drug trials, clinical trials, anything that comes up that looks like it's got a possibility of working. We look at it, we discuss it, and we see if I'm a candidate for it. In the meantime, all I can do is live with it. Now, I became unable to work in my regular job about 20 or so years ago. Now, here's the thing, for all of those of you who hate SSDI, Federal Disability Insurance. It's not welfare. Make a comment about welfare and I will delete it and block you. SSDI is not welfare. It is a federal insurance program that we all pay into. Look at your paycheck. There's a specific spot on your paycheck for SSDI, and that stands for Social Security Disability Insurance. Just like any other type of insurance, you pay for it like car insurance, and you hope you never need it. You know, when you pay car insurance, you're not hoping you get in an accident. You're covering yourself in case you get in one. And that's what SSDI is. The only difference is it's not a private insurance company, it's a federal one. It's not a Ponzi scheme, it's not a ripoff, all right? And it is not welfare. It is an insurance program we all pay into and we hope we never need. And getting on it is not the snap your fingers dream that some people complain it is. It is not. It is an incredibly difficult adversarial program to get into. When you file for it, they immediately make the assumption that you're lying, faking, or exaggerating. They do not take you at your word. And it can take literal years for people to get on it. Each state administers it itself. It's a federal program, but it's administered by the states. And each state has its own Bureau of Disability Determination. And those places have a few different rules compared to the federal program. But let me give you some statistics. 2/3 of everyone that applies for disability get denied at the initial application. 2/3 of the people that appeal that denial get denied. 2/3 denial, 2/3 denial. Now, some states only have one level of appeal, and you're able to go to see an administrative judge. Now, here's where the reverse comes in. First round, 2/3 denial. Second round, 2/3 denial. But you get to the judge, 2/3 approval. Why is that? Because the Bureau is hoping one of two things. You'll quit and give up, or you'll die, and that way they don't have to pay. And that's the rosy picture. Some states actually have 2 levels of appeal before you get to the judge. So it is not the snap your fingers, easy to get on program that so many people believe it is. It is not. It is a war. And sometimes you need an attorney. Sometimes you've got to get your federal senators involved. But it's really difficult, and it takes a lot of time. And it took a lot of time for me to finally get approved. And it is absolutely not some type of luxurious amount that you're given. Don't believe that for a second. I paid into the system for 22 years. 22 years I worked and I paid into the system. And my luxurious monthly benefit is $1,200 a month. Try living on that. Try. That's less than minimum wage. And each year, we might get a 1 to 1.5% cost of living adjustment. There's your luxurious welfare recipient living on steak and driving a Cadillac, right, on $1,200 a month. Doesn't happen. And when I first got bad enough that I couldn't work, condition you see me in here, I call it a bad body day. When the body decides it's just not going to cooperate no matter what I do. A friend of mine coined it as mummy mode. Because when I'm walking around, as you kind of saw when I was moving up to the chair here, I look like the old black and white mummy movie with Lon Chaney Jr. shuffling around all twisted up and dragging a foot. So I took to calling it mummy mode like he did. Now it used to be I'd only get this way once every few months. Usually lasted a day, maybe two. Now, usually every couple of weeks. And it can last anywhere from 24 hours up to 10 days. Yeah, like this, 10 days straight. Now, would I rather be working? Oh, you better damn well believe it. You better damn well believe I would rather be working. And the worst part is, I could be. My last job was as a claims examiner for a medical health insurance company. I processed mental health and chemical dependency insurance claims. All of that work, well, 95% of it was done online. I would work in an office on a computer, and I would process claims that came in one of two ways. They came in electronically, online, or they were sent in on paper. Paper claims, however, were taken to a scanning center, which in our case was down in Los Angeles. They would scan the claims in, then they would transmit them electronically up to my office where I worked in San Rafael. So I rarely ever saw paper claims. That's the 5% of the job that I'm talking about. It was all done online. When my condition got bad enough that I started missing a lot of days at work, the only accommodation I asked for, now remember, the American with Disabilities Act requires an employer to make good faith effort to accommodate a disability. The only accommodation I asked for was to be allowed to work from home remotely just on the days that I was flared up like this and couldn't leave the house. Now mind you, I had plenty of people that would offer to drive me in. First of all, I don't ever want to have anybody see me like this, if I can avoid it. Two, just because I'm twisted, I can get there and I'm all twisted up like this, my ability to work in a cubicle in an office chair is extremely limited. However, in this kind of shape, I can still work at home from my bed if I have to. Hand me a laptop, give me a password to get into the system, and I can work. Now, the thing is, my employer had that ability. They did. They didn't have to create anything new for me. They already had a remote system available. However, they reserved it for supervisor level and above. hourly employees like myself, who in my case, I was only a single step below supervisor at work. I'd been working with the company for nearly 4 years. I was a level 3 examiner, 1 step below supervisor. I had specific accounts assigned to me. And when you looked at my performance reviews, I ranked in the top 10% of my department. And the only accommodation I asked for was to be given a password so that I could log in and work from home only on the days that I couldn't come into the office. And they said no. And that is how I ended up on disability, after several years of warfare. Today, I would still go back to work in a heartbeat if there were an insurance company, facility, or billing service that would let me work from home remotely. I'd take it right now. And I am attempting to do just that. It's been so long that my coding skills are a little out of date, meaning medical codes, DSM and ICD. And I am working with the Office of Vocational Rehabilitation to take the classes at the local college that will get me those 2 classes to get me up to date, and then I can start looking for work at an insurance company, facility, or billing service that'll take me. Regardless of what some people want to believe, the vast majority of people on disability do not want to be on disability. And the instance of fraud in the disability system is infinitesimal, regardless of what some talking heads want to lie to you about. The instances of fraud in disability are under 5%. Every study that's been done has found less than 5% fraud, except when it comes to the companies, private companies that deal with the disabled. The fraud at that level tops over 20%. Look it up. Go ahead, do a 30-second Google search, and you will find it. Look on the SSDI's own website, where they do the research. It is tiny for the individuals to be truly frauding the system. But businesses, private companies and corporations, they're the ones doing the majority of the scamming, not individuals like me. Now, said way back at the beginning that I was going to talk about what it was that I do, or try to do, in terms of my doctor's treatment plans. The one thing that all 3 of my doctors, I have a GP, a general practitioner, that sees me about every 3 months, and then I've got a rheumatologist who I see twice a year, and then I got a cardiologist that I see once a year, because I had a heart attack a while back. All 3 of them are on me continuously to get more exercise. And on a day when I'm not twisted up like this, I try to do what I can. But here's the hitch. People who see me out exercising, whether I'm riding a bike, whether I'm going down to the local Y to swim in the pool, which is actually probably the best exercise for me, since it takes all the weight off my joints and gives me a cardio workout, which would make my cardiologist very happy. I get people who see me doing that. They're going out for a day with physical activities with my friends. And they'll see that and they'll go, well, if you can do that, you can't possibly be disabled. And getting that kind of feedback makes it very difficult for people like me to follow our doctor's orders. We're not committing fraud. We're having a good day. Now for me, the good days are far and in between. And I sure as hell like to take advantage of them when I can. Which usually not only involves having to wait for the body to cooperate, I end up having to take usually a double dose of my pain meds just to make it through. And then what almost none of you see is the way that I have to recover from that for a week afterwards. But you know, the real kicker to this is I might have had to go through that kind of recovery anyway, even if I hadn't done anything. What you're seeing here, I have no clue when this is going to happen. You know, yesterday I was mobile. Yesterday I was functional. And you know what? I didn't go out and exercise. I didn't go out and stress my body. I didn't do anything to put a strain on me. And yet here I am. I'm twisted up. Welcome to my damn life. So the next time you want to open your mouth about disability fraud, or call disability welfare, or talk about all the people scamming the system, just don't. Try educating yourself for a change. Stop listening to those talking heads, because they don't know what the hell they're talking about either. It's against my better judgment to make this video, but I did it.